What's going on, y'all? Bud Elliott here. That's Chuck Blunt. This is the Nolecast reaction and recap of the Florida State dominant win over Kent State. 66-10, Chuck. That was not competitive, but fun. And then I think we have a lot of takeaways we potentially get from blowout of epic proportions.
Gus did what he likes to do. He ran it up on a helpless opponent. So it was very enjoyable. Couple little scares that made the fan base nervous, but overall came out pretty good and got some good work in.
Do you think Gus like is still like a reads the stats in the newspaper guy? And he's like, yeah, total offense, Florida State right there, number 3 in the country or whatever they are right now. Like that, it's
he strikes me as the type who knows exactly where his offense ranks amongst his peers.
Exactly. And you know what, man? I like it when it's top 5. That is what I want to see. From this offense, I figure we can kind of just ping pong back and forth with some takeaways, off each other, and then unfortunately, we'll get to this at the end of the show. Come on, rest of the country, what are we doing with like? I don't. Let's not gloss over a win of 66-10 because man, like I know Kent State's awful, but top takeaway, Micah Danzy.
He was awesome.
Is the most explosive player in the country through 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really good for this offense to find somebody else, but that they can use in a variety of ways. I think that's the great part is we actually got to see him be a receiver. It's not just he can run end arounds. He went out there and he made some plays. He out fought DBs for balls, and that's very encouraging moving forward to have one of those young guys step up, so you don't just have to rely on Deuce and or Squirrel.
Now you can use him in more ways. So they have used them on that little counter reverse several times to great effect. The respect factor that comes from running that play is going to open up technically, counter backside, but like in this case, almost the front side or the non-reverse side of counter, because technically Danzy with that counter motion is going to hold the backside. I can certainly see, and you saw it on the one Sawchuck run here, like you can see the defense being a little bit more hesitant to pursue counter when they know they don't want to get posterized and end up on a highlight reel of getting smoked like that white safety for Alabama did, right?
Yeah.
You are a little bit step slower to react to counter on the front side because of the threat of Danzy. Now the fact that he's actually made a real contested catch in double coverage, although we'll talk about that in a second, and also made like a legitimate burn you catch it in stride catch when it wasn't wide open. I mean, he created the separation. He caught the ball in stride. Great ball by Tommy on that throw. That was one of the best throws Tommy's made in his career.
Probably. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
I just think it also opens up him as a decoy. Like he's going to hold the defense and give Deuce a little more chances down the field in one-on-one coverage, because you're going to be a little concerned about playing Danzy uncapped to the outside. If Squirrel White doesn't get back in a timely fashion from his injury, what are the things that Squirrel does the best, right? He's an explosive guy. He's a downfield threat. And I'm not going to say that Danzy is like there yet, although he might be. I mean, it's not like we have an enormous sample set of Squirrel being, awesome forever, right? Like mostly you were very high on him because of the flashes that he had in the second half of that 2023 season with Tennessee, right? Including the amazing Orange Bowl that he had against Clemson. I don't see why, if you're a defense now, you don't have to respect Danzy for doing those type of things. Now,
just curious, do you know if he's left-handed? I only ask because we keep running that play from right to left. And would he, because you wouldn't want him to throw it awkwardly.
Oh,
he's running left and trying to throw it with the right hand. But if he's left-handed, I'm just spitballing here. Gus has some things in his bag to run off of that, and wouldn't shock me if wide receiver throws it, flip it back to Tommy on some type of flea flicker like play, a double reverse. There's gonna be something that they use off of that, especially since they've used it so many times successfully. Like you said, the defense is starting to play for it, and so I'm just curious to see what they have to counter off of it when they catch a defense slipping.
Do you know what play I want to see them run?
What?
In the worst way. Did you see what Purdue did to Notre Dame?
I heard about it. I haven't seen the video yet.
Oh, dude, it is dirty, and I think it actually sets up great for what this team has. So it's like, I think medium yardage, high red zone. Purdue runs a zone read. Okay. They give it to the back. The quarterback carries out his fake action. So he's going to the flat. Of course, nobody covers the quarterback on the fake because it's literally just a quarterback carrying out his fake. The back stops and chucks it to the quarterback, who then runs for 20 yards for a touchdown.
Nice.
That sounds like something they'll get the ball in space.
Yeah, get that to Tommy.
I don't know if Tommy can catch, but if Tommy can catch a little bit, and he's a pretty good athlete, obviously, and a natural athlete, like that would be cool. Yeah, man, like finding other ways to use Micah Danzy is special, and not gimmick ways. Like those were, I know it's Kent State. I got it. Those were like not gimmick type plays.
No.
That was encouraging.
I mean, those were routes they would ask Deuce to run that Micah showed he can do and execute at the highest, which is great.
Exactly. I thought week 1 was an example of Gus using imperfect players who have special tools and using like emphasizing the good of the tools and minimizing, potentially the weaknesses. Now they were like, hey, let's see what else you got. And that's encouraging, man. Like he's playing like more than just a track guy.
That's what I've loved about these last 2 games is they've been able to explore what they really have, given the newness of so many players. So I thought it was tremendous. There is one area I'd still like. You and I discussed it in prep, but I'd like to see the tight ends a little more involved. You had an opportunity with Pittman down the last couple games just to get some of these young guys work. And it was nice to see Amari get a catch and, flex some muscle down the sideline. You got a 16-yard gain and, Landon caught a touchdown. But I'd just like to see them a little more involved during these last 2 games, just because at some point you're going to need a tight end to make a play in the middle of the field or a run after catch in a tight ball game in the fourth quarter. And it'd just be nice if they could have got a few more reps. But overall, these last 2 weeks, I think FSU used them about as well as you could ask, given, what they were dealing with. I mean, it was an extended fall camp and they got a lot of work in and they were very efficient, which is great. But there were also a lot of teaching moments, which, the coaching staff had to love.
No doubt about it. Second, well, let's pick one. What was your kind of big takeaway? Or well, we probably have a couple each, but
Danzy for sure. It was also nice just to see Sawchuk. He runs hard. Having him, and then I called out actually on Twitter, Cam Davis looks like a whole different person this year. He's so much more confident and he runs hard. Like he doesn't look like he's thinking. It's just
how he ran in high school.
Just play football, man. And that's what he's doing. And if that's what they're going to get from him going forward, they got one hell of a stable of running backs to just rotate through and just keep giving it to the hot hand. And this running game looks like it's going to be really hard to stop. I mean, somebody will shut it down and make Tommy have to beat them with his arm more. But this run game is it's really fun to watch because it's a very machine-like. And I just really appreciate a physical power run game.
Absolutely. And Davis to me right now is kind of like, hey, we're getting ready for a playoff run in baseball. We don't need to throw our ace 9 innings, right? We can close out a game with this kind of longer reliever who can give us 4 good innings. Like Davis ran his butt off. He ran hard. Like that's a guy who can help you finish games.
Yep, him and Singleton, and that way, Chroma and Sawchuk don't have to take as many hits, which is great.
You saw how many snaps Chroma played, right?
Very limited, which is good because I don't need him getting hit in these games. We're going to need him getting hit next week in Miami and a few of those other bigger games that are still left on the schedule.
Yeah, there's a 20 carry game coming for Chroma.
Yeah.
At some point, and I'm all here for it. I'm glad it was not against Kent State.
He also seems like the type that gets lathered up and a little stronger and a little better the more carries he gets into a game. So
I would agree with that.
I think that's going to be down the road, and it would be nice if, on October 4th, we're salting the game away in the fourth quarter, and he's got 8, 9, 10 carries for 55, 60 yards to put the game away. So here's hoping,
100%. We mentioned the deep balls to Danzy. Tommy entering this year was, according to PFF, and look, I don't think PFF College is what PFF Pro is. From everything I understand, I'm not saying it's a bad product. Like clearly, it's better than almost anything that's publicly available. They had Tommy graded as the worst downfield passer in terms of accuracy in the Power 4.
Mhm.
Now, look, you can say that ball ended up being into double coverage because it hung a bit. He threw it from like the -5 or the -6. I mean, the ball's on like the 4.5. He takes a deep drop out of gun. He launches it from mid-script on the end zone lettering and throws it to the 48.
Mhm.
Like, Tommy threw that ball 50 yards in the air.
Yeah.
And it was a competitive throw. And you could tell me it's batted down, or maybe if you want to be negative or something, you could say it's picked against a better team. But still, like, it gave Danzy a chance to make a play on the ball. The other one that he threw was just an absolute strike, and that was the 45 or 50 plus in the air as well.
Yeah.
That's encouraging, man. Like, him throwing a catchable deep ball with conviction.
Mhm.
And I know it's not like we're not lasering it in there type thing. There's a difference between throwing a floating rainbow, but this offense does not require a whole lot of like tight window deep strikes.
No.
It doesn't. If it does, you're in trouble, and
Yeah.
it's not designed to be that way. That's encouraging, dude, because you got guys that can run under and catch this thing.
Well, and we kind of brought it up in the position previews that he's never had receivers like this before. So
Right.
you don't have to be as pinpoint accurate when you have the catch radius some of these guys have and the athleticism they have. And I think we're starting to see that granted, he's made strides because he's put in the work, but also just having that kind of talent around you can, make you look that much better and you not have to be as perfect, which I think we're starting to see, which is great. And it's going to give him confidence. Also, he might have thrown into double coverage, but I've said to you, I would rather him be aggressive than scared to make a mistake, because if he's scared, it really limits what the offense can do. And he's got that short-term memory that it's not going to, weigh on him if he does make a mistake. He's going to go out there and try to make up for it. Now, hopefully he doesn't do too much, and we'll see how that goes. But I love the mentality he is playing with and the aggressiveness. It's much easier to rein a guy in than it is to try to get him to go out and go.
And Chuck, I totally agree with you. And I mean, even to push back on that a little bit, like, the ball ended up technically being double coverage, but it wasn't an obvious double coverage type throw when he let it go. And he's not making decisions that tell me that he's not seeing the field well. And to me, like, there's a real difference in that. There are some guys that just, you watch Jackson Arnold against Oklahoma, and I know OU's defense is unreal, but if you watch that one, how many picks did OU drop? Like 3?
Multiple. Yeah.
There were several times where Venables was clearly like baiting him into something. He just does not read it correctly. And like, it's just, there's a guy like right there. I know Tommy threw the one pick. Do you think he saw the guy? Like,
No.
I think that's just kind of him being tiny. Well,
Yeah.
sure.
That was just, it is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Wasn't he the one who made the tackle too, though? I love that there was that kind of effort,
Absolutely. Other things here. Backs ran hard. You got more young guys involved. I like Lloyd McCoy having a long one. Like, that was cool to see. Get him involved. Show him that if practice habits continue to improve, more good things to come your way. And that's a guy developmentally who you're probably going to need next year.
Yeah.
And maybe at some point this season. Football's a collision sport, not just contact sport. So
they keep bringing Boggs along, which is nice. I think they have the pieces. They're just trying to figure out how and when to use them is the key right now. Plus, you don't want to show too much. You save some of that for the fourth.
Absolutely. Offensive line, I was like okay with. How do I say this? I don't mean this as slight. I mean this is potentially a compliment. I kind of think this offense can potentially play up with like specials, like special plays, special tricks, special stuff they haven't shown, stuff you can break out. Like, they clearly had a lot of that stuff ready for Bama. I don't know if their base stuff is good enough to go out and dominate like decent FBS teams. Obviously, Kent State, like they will have some getting bogged down on days where they don't want to break out a bunch of specials potentially. But I am like heartened here that we've seen Gus break out a lot of special stuff for some big games before, and get the buy-in there. Like, I thought the O-line almost played with more confidence in some ways against Alabama than they did against Kent State in a weird way, if that makes sense.
No, and it does make sense, but also you got to wonder everybody knows how bad those opponents are. And that's the challenge in today's college football. It's not getting your guys up for the biggest games always. Yeah. It's these games you're supposed to win by 45 points. And I think we probably just saw a little complacency and a little lack of focus here at times. I'm not going to lie. I would probably like to see a little change on the interior of the offensive line. I think they maybe have a piece or two that could take this line a little higher, to a little higher ceiling. But I do think some of it, Joe, is just who the opponent is. And I think they're ready to get another test, right? And that's what Friday is going to bring for them. Some of these quote unquote scrimmages probably just don't get your juices flowing especially coming off Bama. Like, I think they would like to go and prove that wasn't a one-off thing. This is who we are. And nobody's going to take it seriously when you do it to Kent State and East Texas A&M. Let's just be honest. It's great that they're showing the effort, though. That's my big thing.
PFF graded Medley as a 16.5 pass blocking grade, which, I mean, look, that grade is god-awful. I went and watched the snaps and was like, all right, I think on a couple of these, I don't know that they're really all that bad, to be honest. We have not seen this offense have to really operate from a negative game state, both in terms of scoreboard and also in terms of down and distance. They have thrown very little non-play action drop back game. Mm-hmm. And that's exactly the way I like it.
That's right.
It's still an unknown if they can actually do it, if they have to, which, I mean, look, guys, at some point they will have to. I'm not saying they cannot do it. I'm just like, I don't know if they can do it yet. I like that they have more pieces who keep emerging. I totally agree with you, by the way. Pittman is more important to this offense than I realized, to your point, based on what we have seen from the other tight ends in these games that he missed. So, pretty encouraged, man. Like, this is looking like a more trustworthy product. Speaking of trustworthy products, obviously, Legendary Team does a tremendous job. Chad, over 600 loans for all of our Nolecast listeners. 844-FSU-LOAN. It's 844-FSU-LOAN is the number to call. Chad does a tremendous job. I've done multiple home loans through. I know Graham has worked with them as well. A whole bunch of our listeners, clearly. I don't think he's in Ohio, but if you want to buy a place down in Florida, man, the bad weather's coming.
I'll keep that in mind.
Awesome. So let's, you got anything more on offense, or you want to talk defense?
Let's talk a little defense.
Let's do it. All right. I like Mandrell's sack.
Yeah. I just like watching the Twins play football, man. They are fun, and they have a motor, and they're big.
Those are, I'm very, very encouraged. I thought AJ played well at linebacker. I mean, I know it's Kent State. I know it's kind of more garbage time, but okay, look at him flying around. They got him in a little bit early too. That was pretty encouraging.
They definitely seem to trust him. He's in that probably top 4 or 5. It seems like that they trust.
Jerry Wilson continues to play exceptionally good football. That's money well spent right there in the transfer portal. I think he fits the scheme really, really good. Earl Little still playing super hard. They played a million guys on defense too.
Yeah, like what they say, 60 different guys registered a snap or something, or on defense, something crazy. I have to look it up.
Scrolling down here.
They used everybody on the defensive side of the roster, though.
So there's 23 on a page. I'm going to scroll past Nicholson here. So that's 46. 46 guys played a snap on defense.
On Jesus, that's a lot.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was encouraged by that. I don't know that the defense played, like, they played hard. I don't know if they played with, I don't know, maybe quite the same focus that you saw in, like, relative to opponent. Like in the Bama game, man, they were just so detail oriented, which I think we were so encouraged by in an opening game with a new scheme.
It was probably, for lack of a better word, their worst performance on defense. Just the actual execution wasn't as crisp and efficient as we've seen, but it's hard to complain. You gave up 10 points and you gave up one busted coverage. I mean, that's probably the one play they wish they could get back, because what was that? Probably a third of the total yardage for Kent State for the entire game. So, but otherwise, I also found it interesting just watching. They didn't seem to be going all out on any type of pass rush or even trying to get penetration into the backfield. They were very much take a couple steps and then I'm just going to wait for you and I'm going to destroy you, and you're getting 0 or losing a yard. They weren't going to chase people around. They were just going to kind of wait and come to me because you have to get by me if you want yards.
Yes, I totally agree with you on that. What else here? Had a couple notes on the phone. I thought Herring played pretty well in limited snaps. Like he was pretty nice off the edge. Yeah, man. Like I'm encouraged by this team. This looks like a really good football team.
What do you figure? They totally trust maybe 6 guys against across the defensive line, 4 guys at linebacker, and like 7 in the secondary. Is that going to be the rotation in Virginia, Miami, Pitt? Granted, Stanford and Wake Forest, you're going to get to use, the third stringers and even more. But in those games that are going to matter, it seems like they're on that defense. They're probably at 22, 24 guys they trust in total.
I think so. I'll also note as far as trust, like James Williams is not dominating, but he doesn't seem to be wildly out of position as much as he was in the early part of the Alabama game.
And that could have been adrenaline too.
No doubt. Yeah. I mean, you get adrenaline, new place, opening game. You're lining up against Caden Proctor, who I didn't play well, but like in a uniform, like good God, does that guy look
he looks the
like
part.
not of this earth, right? Yeah, for sure. Maybe just trying to do a little bit too much there early on. Like they need him to keep coming on. You're going to face some pretty good pass protectors here, in the coming weeks. I know like UVA's left tackle, actually, like the one, Boley, who's healthy. He was like the ACC Offensive Lineman of the Week and appears to be pretty good. I know Stanford's not exactly amazing, but we are short rest to Virginia this week, so I went ahead and watched that UVA game against Stanford. It's kind of what I thought it was for them, honestly. Like, we bet we bet UVA after watching how Stanford scored on BC. It was like the most flukiest thing, like 3 or 4 of them you would ever see. They had like BC when they were playing Stanford had like a guy fall down, let a tight end run for like 70 yards. They had like 2 crazy fumble return type situations, and UVA smacked them soundly. This team appears to be coming together. I like a lot of what they're doing. Some of the young guys are coming on, for sure. You'd like to see one of the corners opposite of Jerry, and maybe it's Rawls. Like maybe they think Rawls is that guy, and maybe like if he's the best 2 you have, then maybe it is, right? I do like the little Barker combination for run defense, and I don't know how many teams you play are going to be able to pick you apart and make you pay for playing those guys who might be merely decent in coverage. You see what I'm saying? Like there may be some teams in the country who could make you really, really pay for that.
Yeah.
I don't know if those teams are on your schedule.
I think the only one that
UVA might be one.
Yeah, and
with the way they're throwing it around.
If Beck has time to throw, he's pretty good at finding the duck and taking advantage of it. So that's my key to that game is if you get pressure on him, he doesn't throw well when he's off platform. Like if you can get him to move just slightly, it changes his entire game. So, but this week will be interesting to watch how much they use, what combinations they use in those passing situations, and if they're able to continue to use that tandem together, or do they have to come out of it some? Because I do like the physicality that those two bring playing together.
Completely agree. Like the defense continues to play with more congruity. Congruity HR Solutions is, of course, and one of our sponsors we need to thank here. Congruity, whether it's HR, payroll, insurance needs for your business. A lot of our businesses through the Nolecast have also done great work with Congruity. Of course, all their contact info, just hit them up at the email in the show notes. Just click on it. Literally, it'll take you right to the email. And continue support from Congruity is, of course, a major factor for us continuing in the Nolecast. All right, so pretty happy with Kent State. Looks like you avoided major injuries. Knock on wood, obviously. You want to get some guys back for UVA. You really want to get some guys back for Miami. Opening spread for UVA was like 6.5. It got bet up to 7. Looks like I don't know, what it'll close at. Important note there. We'll talk more in the UVA preview. Looks like UVA center went out against Stanford. There's a photo of him with a bunch of ice on his calf. So I know their coach said they're hopeful it's just a calf strain, but if you're Daryl Jackson, you are looking at that and saying, okay, I'm interested in following the developments of this position for this game. National primetime game on a Friday night, certainly something, worth checking out there. All right. So all good from Kent State. Very few negatives. We held up our end of the bargain. Unfortunately, Chuck.
The rest of the schedule did not.
Damn it, man. What are we doing, ACC? Like, this is... Chuck. Can they see this? Is this graphic big enough?
That's a little small today.
Here you go.
There we go.
Is that...
So one of the things I want to just call out, and this is a concern of mine, if you're fighting for a second an at-large bid, so a second bid for the ACC, and you're going against the Big 12, the ACC is now 1-6 against the Big 12 head up. Thanks, SMU. You've contributed 2 of those losses. That's just not good. If, say, 12-0 Texas Tech gets upset in Arlington, they could take your bid if you need it. Now, obviously, our plan would be just win out. Like, if you win your games, you have nothing to be worried about. But the whole point of this is in case you need that bailout, for lack of a better word. You need the at-large bid. That's why we put this together, to talk about your CFP odds.
Assuming independent odds, okay, which you should here, because none of these games are technically related, unless you think there's some kind of curse going on. You had a 96% chance of getting at least one upset that you needed on the weekend. Those favorites went 8-0.
That's crazy.
You had a 66% chance of the favorites that you needed to win sweeping. 2 of them lost. And we didn't even put Cal on this sheet, dude, because they were playing a terrible San Diego State team.
Nope.
And they lost, like, soundly.
Yes.
Like, what was that final? I went to bed, but, like...
It was...
At one point, it was 19-0. It was 34-0.
Yeah. Yeah, I knew they didn't score.
This is a shitty conference. It is, man. This is a bad league. Like, you got... Miami looks amazing, and you look pretty damn good through 3 weeks, right? Like, hell, I mean, I think your Bama performance is more impressive than anything Miami's put together. They just have played more decent teams than you have. I mean, like, Clemson's not going to be a ranked win for you.
No. They're going to struggle to make a bowl. Like, I got them at 6-6 at this point.
If they don't get their head out of their ass, like...
That's going to be the hard part. There's so few opportunities to pick up another quality win. Miami is... I guess you could kind of hope that if you beat Virginia, you don't break them in the process, and maybe they can... do something the rest of the way and sneak in the back end, have a nice season, because they do look a lot better than they've looked at any point under Tony Elliott. They just do. But it would be nice if they don't pack it in, if FSU does do what they're supposed to do on Friday night.
Did they make a bowl last year?
No.
They went 5-7, right?
Yeah.
So, like, you got to hope UVA, if you get that win, and I'm not saying it's a lock for the Noles, but I was a little surprised by the 7. I don't know that some of these metrics have caught up to FSU quite yet.
Yeah, I was expecting closer to 9, maybe 9.5. So I was a little surprised when I saw the line come out.
Like, I understand it not being 10 because, like, what would you need to bet 10? Like, you need to, like, basically line the game like 13. Like that feels wild on a short rest road game in conference. But I mean, dude. Like North Carolina losing by like getting crushed by UCF. That's a UCF team that basically like probably should have lost to Jacksonville State.
Hey, look, another Big 12 team they lost to. There's a theme here.
If I'm Michael Alford, if I am Jim Phillips, I'm like, you know what? Yes, the rest of our league did lose to them. You know who didn't lose to a Big 12 team? The 2 teams that we want to go to the playoff.
That's right.
Or if you are Georgia Tech, if you're arguing Georgia Tech, hey, didn't like. One of those wins is by Georgia Tech. They spanked Colorado. Yep. Probably could have been worse. They didn't have a turnover on their first 3 drives. I mean, some of this stuff is annoying. Some of the stuff, like some of the way this is setting up, is making me think that there's a really good chance that you get 8 or 9 Big 10 plus SEC.
At the way it's looking, I mean, it seems like a lock that each one gets 3, right?
Yeah.
And then it's getting close. I mean, the Big Ten's going to have like 5 teams go 10-2.
Right. Exactly.
Like, or better. Like OSU, Oregon, Penn State, USC, and Indiana are all now projected. Or USC's like the one who's the biggest if, but they could all go 10-2 or better at this point.
You're gonna and we didn't even mention Michigan.
Yeah, and I mean at 9-3, they're going to be in the discussion. It may not be good enough just because they might have 5-10 win teams in their own conference, but
yeah, you're going to need like Aiden Childs at Michigan State to rise up and beat somebody. He played his ass off against USC last night. Like that was really good performance by him. Obviously, Michigan State around him is not great.
No.
You're going to need Washington to scheme it up and pull an upset, I think, at some point. Like you're going to need maybe an Iowa, which does look better now, to beat somebody and not be an auto dub. You know, like that. That's
speaking of which, Indiana goes to Iowa City on Saturday.
Man, we are big Hawkeyes this weekend, Chuck. I got to tell you, because like, and so the operating, like, dude, 11-1's in. I'm very confident that it. I think the only way 11-1 is not in is if, and I want to say if, so you don't misquote me on this on Twitter, not you, but just like if you were to get your doors blown off twice or something. But I still don't think they would screw you like that. But I didn't think they were going to screw you like that in 2023, and they did. I think 10-2 is kind of the danger zone here.
Well, and the biggest reason why is 10-2 is not going to get to Charlotte. Like it's such a slim chance that 10. Or the problem is that second loss comes to Florida, and that is just going to be a major demerit on your resume if you go and lose to a 5-6 or a 4-7 Florida team at the end of the year. That's going to be a problem. You would still go to Charlotte, but I would question if 10-3, if you lost in Charlotte and you're now 10-3, and one of those losses is to Florida, and the other 2 losses are to the same team. That's going to not really go over well in a room of 12 people, I don't think, when they're comparing you to P2 teams. Let's just be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like top to bottom, the ACC is the worst league this year.
Yeah, it's really not even close.
And I don't want to emphasize the word top. I want to emphasize bottom.
Yeah.
And like the middle of this league is bad. I think we are really starting to see the rev share issues here. Like these rosters are not good. So you need to take care of business.
That's right.
Like you do control your own destiny for sure at this point. You're big Iowa fans the rest of the way out. You're big Washington fans the rest of the way out. You're big Michigan State fans. Just chaos in the Big Ten. You need South Carolina to pull it together and pull an upset here on somebody. You're probably big Auburn fans, to be honest.
You also would like Clemson to get their head out of their ass and win some games down the stretch.
They play like they don't care.
Yeah, they look like they've checked out on him.
Like Florida seems disorganized, but they are still playing hard. Definitely on defense. Lagway looks like kind of still banged up to me, but whatever. Clemson looks like they don't give a damn. They're going through the motions. That's rough. And this was supposed to be their year.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense why but it shows you that with all the emphasis on the playoffs these days, when it looks like that is gone, the quit watch becomes a very real thing for some of these teams now. I mean, we had to sit through it last year. Like when all your goals that you came back for are gone, it's hard to get up and go out there and play football and give great effort if you're just doing it to do it, right?
100%. So I have, let me see here. The FanDuel lines, where did I have these up? Oh, give me, Chuck, talk about something for a second. Put it on the spot here. Talk about something for a second. I'm
so
pull these up.
I actually updated my power ratings today, and I only moved FSU up 1 spot to 13, but this kind of speaks to the schedule that's left. 11-1 is now the most likely outcome at 36%. 10-2 is still more likely than 12-0, but I did find it interesting that, the schedule just keeps getting easier and easier, which is increasing the most likely outcome. And so at least 11-1 is what we need. And that's what the model's projecting at this point. So let's hope I can put this thing together properly and it's accurate.
I like that. I like that a whole lot. So I'm just pulling this up here. Ohio State needs to be a yes. Oregon, Penn State, USC, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Miami. Who else
I'm curious. Do you think game day is coming next week, or do you think it's going to be one of those crazy things where they do the primetime game here, but Herb Street flies in after they do game day? Because we've seen them do that before. I just wonder if they're going to put him through some of the heckling that will come with coming to Tallahassee for game day.
Man, I hope that people I really hope people realize it's just sports.
I do too.
You know what I'm saying? Like obviously you really can't be in sports media and not realize like diehards drive the product, right? Like they're the ones that watch all your episodes. But like it is just sports. So if Kirk Herbstreit comes, don't act like you can heckle him, you can boo him, you can make signs reminding him of kind of like the flipperation they were doing, you know, and the lobbying and whatnot. Don't do crazy stuff. It's just a bad look. Like be a reasonable human. You know, that's just kind of my take on that.
Because they haven't been to. When's the last time they came to Tallahassee? Wasn't it 2014?
Shoot, was it that late?
I think it was like the ND game was the last time they were here. The only other potential one would have been 2016 Clemson. I can't remember.
There's got to be a Wikipedia.
Yeah, there's
a Wikipedia on this.
Yeah, if you go game day, they give you the locations by year. Here, I'll pull it up real quick.
Okay.
But I can't. I'm trying to remember the last time they were actually here.
2014, Chuck. You're right. Was
it the Notre Dame game?
They came twice. They came for Clemson on September 20th, and they came for the Notre Dame game. Yeah, it's been since 2014, which is wild.
Nuts, man.
A decade without college game day.
Well, you know that the last time FSU and Miami were both in the top 10 was 2013.
Oh, that's right.
That's how last time the game was that big. So, I mean, you would think game day would want to come and celebrate the rivalry because it is part of the fabric of college football.
They're also still your broadcast,
right?
I mean, like for what that's worth, they would like to at least potentially show that off. You would think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm going to share this now. This is the odds to make the playoffs from FanDuel. Okay, right. Which is not nearly as SEC biased so far as FPI. So Bama plus 118. So slightly less than a coin flip.
Are you sharing
it? I'm sorry.
It's not sharing.
I did share it. Yeah. Oh, I actually have to click share twice. There we go.
There you go.
All right. So Bama plus 118. They're like roughly a coin flip. Georgia's minus 290. So, significantly better than a coin flip. LSU slightly yes, minus 144. Missouri's plus 300, right? Like Missouri's very live to make the playoff. Oklahoma's plus 114. So, same as Bama, like pretty good odds there. Ole Miss plus 134. Like that's one you got to watch out for. They play like a nothing schedule. Tennessee plus 240. Texas minus 168. Their defense is still really good, by the way, like really good. A&M plus 130. So I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to show you this. So according to FanDuel, Florida State's plus 198.
All right.
Georgia Tech's plus 184. So they think Georgia Tech is like ever so slightly more likely to make the playoff than the Noles are. Miami's obviously yes at minus 300 given the wins they have already and who else is on their schedule. But Miami's resume could also get a lot worse if Notre Dame continues to collapse.
If Notre Dame goes 7-5, all of a sudden that win does not look very good.
Right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 SEC teams, according to FanDuel, who have better odds to make the playoff than the Noles. Now, it won't shake out like that because they all play each other. Obviously. We're not going to get a 7 SEC team playoff. I've got to hope not. I think 4 is most likely, followed by 5, and then followed by 3. Although I actually had an interesting model run today, spit out 3 for the SEC and 5 for the Big Ten. So, and 2 for the Big 12.
The way I keep looking at it is they're going to get 8 between the P2.
Yeah,
the question is that last one, do they get a 9th for the P2 or does it go to Notre Dame because they ran 10 straight, or does it go to either the Big 12 or the ACC? That's how it feels like. That's how it's going to shake out more often than not. 8 are going to go, though, I would guess, to the P2 at minimum 7.
Yeah, I if you were putting a line on this, you couldn't make it 7.5 because everybody with a brain would bet the over.
Yeah.
Michigan plus 410, they're still live. Indiana plus 180. So that Indiana, I mean, these are negligible differences, but like slightly better odds than FSU to make the playoff, right now. Ohio State minus 750, clearly. Minus 320 for Oregon, minus 3.25 for Penn State. USC plus 245. So does USC, Michigan, Indiana, do they somehow implode? Right? Like that would be big if you get just 3 out of the Big Ten.
I think Indiana's probably your best chance, wouldn't you think? If one of them was
implode.
Yeah, just because this year's schedule's a little harder than what they dealt with last year. Like I said, they go to Iowa next week, they get a bye week, and then they're at Oregon. So I mean, that Oregon game going to Eugene's not easy for anybody, and I'm not sure Indiana has the athlete. We kind of saw what happened to Indiana when they went up against upper echelon teams. I wouldn't be shocked if we got a similar outcome to what was in Columbus last November. I mean, OSU won that game 38-15. So, it gives you an idea. But then after that, the only other big one they have left is Penn State in Happy Valley in week 11. So, I mean, I would say that's why they're projected at 10-2. That's why you need Iowa to win this week.
Yeah. You need Illinois to go in the tank.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, clearly they did. Indiana beat them by what, 40 or 50?
53. It was 63-10.
Whew. Yeah, we gave Fernelli some crap for that last night on cover 3, obviously. So, I mean, TCU plus 370, Texas Tech plus 186. You need the Big 12 to start beating each other up internally a little bit. What you don't want to have happen is a 12-1 and a 12-1 coming out of the Big 12 championship game where, an 11-1 beats a 12-0. And then both those teams go like that. Yeah. That's a bid thief type spot.
What you would actually like is Texas Tech to just handle their business and go 11-1 or 12-0 and beat like a 9-3 TCU, Iowa State, or Utah in Arlington. That would be the best case scenario out of the Big 12 because that locks them into one bid guaranteed.
Yes, 100%. Taking a look at this, if you look at the lines on some of these right now, like TCU is actually a dog at Arizona State. You need Dillingham to do you a favor this weekend and hang a loss on TCU. Mm-hmm. Looking at some of these other ones, USC at Illinois this weekend. Mm-hmm. USC is a 1.5-point favorite. You kind of want Illinois to take them down because that also devalues a potential win by the Irish over them late in the year.
Yep.
Right. Like if I'm not worried about 11-1. So my main concern right now is if you go 10-2, like what's the best outcome for that? And granted, we can't control that. Hell, you and I don't play any of the games, but there are certain results that are happening now, which will matter in December.
Well, and also, as crazy as this is to say, isn't 10-2 the best outcome to lose to Miami and Florida? If you're going to go 10-2, isn't that actually, because that gets you to Charlotte. Any other combination of 10-2 probably prevents you from getting to Charlotte because you're 6-2 in ACC play. Yeah. So if 100%. If you lose a second game, it really needs to be in Gainesville after Thanksgiving. As terrible as that is to say, and nobody wants to go 0-2 against rivals, that is the ideal 10-2 if you're going to have to deal with it.
I would agree with that for sure. I'm trying to think what else here would matter this weekend. Like if Cincinnati could take down Kansas, we also want to avoid having a lot of these 15. Like we don't want the Big 12 to have resume boosting for some of its other teams in like the top 5, top 10 area. Mm-hmm. You want like chaos. You want a lot of 8-4, 7-5 in the Big 12, which I think we will get for most of the teams. That's just taking a look at that. I think you could use LSU beating Ole Miss this weekend.
Yeah, because
now I could argue the other way.
It's looking like Ole Miss is headed for a 10-2, 6-2 conference slate. So, like, I think it would be better, and that's because my model projects them to beat LSU this weekend. I have LSU at 9-3 and Ole Miss at 10-2. I think you'd rather LSU win that football game.
Did you see that LSU center got ejected for targeting in the second half?
Yes.
Jeez. Yeah, that was pretty wild. I mean, look, the biggest thing is control your controllables, but there are certain teams against which I like your chances at 10-2 better than other teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think you can argue your 10-2 is better than the Irish's 10-2. Now, the sequence in which the wins would come for both programs would be something I'm sure if we were doing an Irish podcast, we would argue pretty heavily. Is Ole Miss 10-2 really, like, is that really that impressive?
Let me hold on. Let's see what it would actually probably be.
You would need Tulane not to win the American, obviously.
I mean, the two losses would probably be Georgia and Oklahoma. They're both on the road back-to-back in week 8 and week 9.
Yeah.
But that would also mean LSU, who's probably 9-3. But then you don't
you got the Bama win.
I'm talking about Ole Miss, though.
No, I'm saying, like, in comparison, you have a two-score win over Alabama.
Yeah. But the problem is you need to make sure Bama goes 9-3 or 10-2. That or like nothing you can do about it. But it's not going to help you if Bama goes 8-4. Like, which is still a very real possible outcome for Alabama right now. I got them power rated in the top 10, and I still got them coming out 8-4 just because Bama has one of the hardest schedules in the SEC. Like, they still have to play Missouri and Oklahoma and Georgia and Texas A&M, I think, and LSU, right? Like, so
right, yes.
Bama's got a brutal schedule left. Oh, Tennessee's on there, and Auburn to close. So yeah, they by my metrics, they have the 4th hardest schedule in the country.
You don't start it now, but you may start it in a little bit. If you are worried about a 10-2 Ole Miss type thing, what you're starting to say is, hey, Georgia State's not a bowl team. Kentucky's not a bowl team. Arkansas is not a bowl team. We'll talk about Tulane as we see how the American plays out. Okay, Washington State's not a bowl team. LSU is, but LSU, is probably 9-3. I would think at this point. Their offense, the O-line is a real problem there. South Carolina is probably not a bowl team, guys. Citadel's whatever. Florida's probably not a bowl team. Mississippi State again, probably not a bowl team. Mm-hmm. There's a real chance here in which you have 2 wins over bowl teams as a 10-2 Ole Miss. So the letters on the shirt aren't matching up to the actual resumes on the schedule.
Yeah. But
I guarantee you ESPN will be all over promoting a 10-2 SEC team. So you really need to kind of be like looking under the hood here a little bit, like, I don't know. FSU needs to be thinking ahead here on the messaging. Jim Phillips needs they don't have a fine bomb to counter this.
Don't get caught flat-footed like you did in December of 2023.
Man, you said it. Sheesh. That's I mean, we're rabbit holing this thing too much, I'm sure, but good weekend overall. In terms of stuff you control, rest of the schedule, like, come on, guys. I sat there and ran the odds. And I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me.
I'll tell you what, this weekend's going to be a lot of fun just in general. FSU's going to play on Friday night, take care of business, hopefully, and then you get to sit back, and it is an outstanding slate of football. I'm still disappointed they put Penn State, Oregon at the same time as Alabama, Georgia. Yeah. But you got 4 games between top 25 teams this weekend and just over a half dozen good-looking games on the slate. It's going to be a lot of fun. So we just need the Noles to do what they're supposed to do, and then we can all sit back, make some nice food, and just watch football all day, and hopefully chaos hits. That would be ideal.
I'm so excited just to see some chaos. Like that's – yeah. Woo Pig at noon, knock Notre Dame out of this thing,
there I think, you go. Right? Yeah, because if Arkansas takes care of Notre Dame this weekend, they're done. 9-3 also, isn't getting in.
If Arkansas takes care of Notre Dame, if USC beats Notre Dame, that's a little bit less quality of a win.
That's right. Because now you're talking about at best Notre Dame can be as 8-4. And that just isn't going to have as much shine for USC as giving them their 3rd loss and then them going 9-3.
Completely agree. Maybe Dion can pull the upset on BYU.
He owes them one, right? Didn't they meet in the bowl game last year as conference?
Yeah, it was not pretty. That was
at least he went back to Stalter this weekend. They looked a little better on offense.
The Riverwalk has come for us all at one point or another if you got to go to San Antonio enough. So oh shoot. We'll see everybody at Matzo this week. Next week rather. That should be an awesome time, and can't wait to see Matt and those guys. And that's all I got for this week. Got anything else, buddy?
No, I'm looking forward to previewing the game and seeing what FSU has in conference opener.
All right, man. Let's do it.
Later.
See you, buddy.